Brodes Media.
How many more times do I have to be right before you understand that I know what the fuck I'm talking about? NFC Championship Game at the Link 1 week from today. It's unreal. Now we have all week to get to that matchup. What a damn game by Saquon Barkley. He had 250 plus yards on the ground the last time these two teams met, right? And I tried to explain how nobody has an answer for this man. And this dude in the snow goes for 200 plus again on the ground, including a monster dagger and a 70 plus yard home run hit. Saquon didn't evaporate from existence. It's not as if the second go around when these two teams met, all of a sudden Saquon doesn't exist anymore. There was nothing the Rams could do from stop him from being a madman. And you saw it again. The defense in the second half was just absurd. Now, the Eagles shot themselves in the foot a billion times and still won. 2 missed extra points. Slay should have had an interception on the first Rams drive. Isaiah Rodgers should have had an interception, but he got big manned. That's pretty embarrassing, too, on how pathetic that was. He got it ripped right out of his hands. Unacceptable. You have to have it. Coop probably could have stopped us from sweating as much as we did on that final Rams drive if he could catch a football. Lane Johnson had a false start on the tush push. Mekhi Becton had some rough moments out there. What else happened? Hurts taking a safety. Hurts kicking himself out of field goal range by getting hit. A.J. Brown right before half. If they would have put up 7 there, because remember, the Rams would have had the ball coming out of the half. That would have been a nice tone to set to kind of go into the locker rooms there and reset at half. But no, and A.J. dropped a first down pass that was a nice throw in a nice window by Jalen. He dropped that earlier too. So I'm thinking, what is going on here? And then the big boys showed up. Jalen Carter, my God, I fucking love you. I love you. Big play in the fourth. Huge punch out. And the Eagles defense get the rock. Nolan Smith, my God, are you not great? Isaiah Rodgers scoops it up, and he's able to get going. Ojomo made a play. Burks had a pass breakup. Zach Bond had a drive that I label the Zach Bond drive. Josh Sweat and CJ GJ on 3rd and shorts where the Rams wanted to run it, and they had some great gap discipline and made an unbelievable tackle. Darius Slay all over the field with pass breakups. The one that stung, yes, when Puka caught that crazy pass over by the sideline. But I'm giving you an example of all these dudes that stepped up and made plays after Quinyon Mitchell goes down. That's a big loss. Jalen Hurts, he gets injured where he was essentially cut in half, and you can see his knee bending. He goes into the tent. He's in there for a long-ass time. We went to the billionth commercial of the show, and I had to sit there and wait to see if Kenny Pickett's going to be the one to start the drive or not. Here comes Jalen, and I actually thought that Jalen, late in the game, when they were able to move him left to right off of that run game, he actually made some important passes. They weren't splashy, all right? They weren't, wow, that was insane. But there were some plays that needed to be made. All right, they go for it. They get AJ on a slant. Boom. That is so important. And I actually like the way that Nick Sirianni handled the go for it or even the kick the field goal decisions with Mother Nature involved because that game was wacky. But I'll tell you the difference here. And I've spent weeks and weeks and weeks trying to express how important this detail is in the football game. Look how Matthew Stafford and their running back, how they turn the ball over. Jalen did not. Go look at Jared Goff. Go look at what happened to that Detroit Lions team at home who crumbled. Turnovers, trick play, try to get too cute, interception. Our quarterback does not turn the football over. And the fact that even in a game like this, and being banged up, and having to leave to go to the tent, it doesn't even happen in this game. Could he been picked off once when he tried to throw it to A.J. Brown downfield in the end zone and there was a bit of a tip drill and it bounced off a couple of helmets or whatever? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But I'll tell you what. I still think Jalen, even with the criticism of taking those sacks, I don't know if the coaches put him in the best position. That second down, they asked him to keep the ball and run it to his left and fake it for a Saquon run, and that was a disaster. That was right around the 2-minute warning when the Rams got their final crack at it again. And, of course, we were going to have to sweat it out that way, which is just disgusting, but it is what it is. You got the dub. And I got to give Nick Sirianni a lot of credit because he got a little bit of backlash from fans and from media because he was asked prior to the game starting, what's your message to the team this week? And he said, handle the adversity. And then some responded with, well, what does that mean? You're playing an LA Rams team at home for a chance to host an NFC Championship game. That's not adversity. You're a touchdown favorite, essentially. Where's the adversity? And then he was asked about it during the broadcast on the sideline when one of the sideline reporters got to him. And he goes, if it's one of those games where it's a shootout, we got to find a way. If it's one of those games where the defenses come up clutch, we got to find a way. We have to figure it out throughout this game. That's going to be something. It's going to be interesting. It's going to have a wonky personality to it because this snow is coming. It didn't start out the same way that it ended. So we know that by the time we come out for that second half, this is going to be a completely different way about attacking because let's be honest, when you're a cornerback and the wide receivers know what routes they're running and you have no clue, you could slip. We saw that happen with Dallas Goedert on a 3rd and 5 and he goes for 30-something yards and he was wide open in the middle of the field because they just have guys slipping and falling, and that's going to happen. That's the adversity right there. The unknown, the unexpected, you have no idea how crazy and absurd it's going to be because it's unpredictable. And more times than not, if you're the team that's lesser than and you're playing a football game and that's what you're relying on to win, you're probably not going to win. Because now you're asking for outside reasons other than football on why you can beat up your opponent. And then, well, that stays true here because, But yes, the elements being so slippery, the white coat starting to cover the field, having to use your hands to get Jake Elliott some time or not time, but, when it was his time to get his number called, they can get as much grip as possible. Hey, can we work on that with these extra points? Because my man needs to lock in. If that would have costed them after we thought when Saquon celebrated in the end zone that this puppy was wrapped up, and if it came down to him not being able to make that simple kick, he could drain it from 40 plus. The dude had a good day kicking field goals, and it's a shame because it now gets ruined. Unfortunately, those 2 extra points are so damaging, and you could have pissed it away. Unfortunately for him, he's not going to get as much praise as he deserves for coming up clutch in those elements because you really, really hurt us. Big time. But with the snap of your fingers, I went from, holy hell, texted all my group chats, we're about to host a fucking NFC Championship game against a team that we're better than for a trip to the Super Bowl to go to New Orleans, to, come on, man, my ass should not be this tight. Come on, man. We can't be living this Atlanta Falcons thing again. We can't be doing this thing when it's the Nakobe Dean interception against Trevor Lawrence and the Jags thing again. I can't handle that. I actually thought it would probably get worse, meaning maybe they get to the 3-yard line, it's 3rd and 3, or it's 3rd and goal at the 3, it's 4th and goal at the 2, and maybe we'd have to experience, I don't know, a situation where Jalen Mills stops Julio Jones, or Julio Jones just doesn't make the catch, and then that's how we erupt. But I'll tell you what, we erupted when Jalen Carter showed his worth. That guy, a big portion of the win goes to what his excellence is. And I know this sounds a little silly, but he's been known to do things that are a little emotional on the field. That's fair to say, right? How about when he picked up Matthew Stafford and didn't throw him to the ground like he's in WWE for a suplex? You do that, you get flagged. And we're not like Witherspoon, who tries to cheap shot Devontae Smith and take his head off with the shot downfield. That could have been a monster play for this Eagles offense early in the game. Speaking of early in the game, how about Jalen with that 44-yarder on the ground to explode and get that place rocking early? Man. And it's a shame you missed the extra point. I think that does crush morale. That does lose energy in that building, especially when the Rams attack the way they do to score right after. You think it's a 3rd down that hits the ground, right? Remember, they had the challenge to play. Sean McVay did. It keeps the Rams offense alive. Slay should have had an interception. Sheesh. If he grabbed that interception that early in the game after we were up 6 and did something just sexy as hell with that play right after and put it in the end zone or something with a fucking great pass to AJ. Whoo! Horny people would have been in Philadelphia. But instead, we had to wait until we had horny people in Philadelphia. And that's just the way it goes sometimes.